Before the gleam of silver or the clink of minted coins ever graced its shores, the island we now call Singapore was a vibrant hub of exchange. Here, nestled at the crossroads of ancient maritime routes, people traded in a much more direct, tangible way. Imagine, if you will, a bustling port where a fisherman with a surplus of dried fish could trade his catch for a basket of rice grown by a farmer inland. A craftsman might exchange intricately woven textiles for exotic spices brought by a merchant from a distant land. This was the world of barter, a system of direct trade where goods and services were swapped without the need for money. It was honestly a simple yet effective way for communities to meet their needs, relying on trust and the perceived value of the items themselves. This system, however, was not limited to simple bartering. As trade routes expanded, a fascinating array of objects began to serve as a form of currency. These were items that held inherent value across different cultures. Brightly colored glass beads, for example, were highly prized and could be used to purchase a wide variety of goods. So too were blocks of salt, a vital commodity for preserving food in the tropical climate. Even certain types of seashells, carefully selected for their rarity and beauty, functioned as a medium of exchange. This was a world where wealth was not counted in numbers, but was held in the hand, a physical representation of value that connected people from diverse backgrounds through the universal language of trade. As the island's importance as a trading post grew, so did the variety of currencies that found their way into its markets. Merchants from China arrived with their distinctive bronze coins, each with a square hole in the center, which could be strung together for convenience. Traders from the various Malay sultanates brought their own local currencies, often made of tin or gold. From the west, ships carried currencies from the vast Dutch and Portuguese empires, adding to the complex monetary landscape. This eclectic mix of coins and barter items created a lively, but often confusing economic environment, where the value of one currency against another was constantly in flux, negotiated on the spot by buyers and sellers. This complex tapestry of exchange highlights a fundamental truth about early Singapore. It was a place of immense diversity and adaptability. The people who lived and traded here were masters of negotiation, able to navigate a world without a single standardized currency. They understood the value of goods from across the region, from the spices of the Maluku Islands to the silks of China. The absence of a uniform money system did not hinder trade. Instead, it fostered a unique economic culture built on flexibility and a deep understanding of mutual benefit. This intricate dance of barter and foreign coins was the very foundation upon which the island's future economic success would eventually be built. In 1819, a new chapter in the island's history began. Sir Stamford Raffles, an agent of the British East India Company, landed in Singapore and saw its immense potential. He envisioned a thriving free port, a place where ships from all corners of the globe could trade without heavy taxes or restrictions. His vision quickly became a reality. Merchants, laborers, and adventurers flocked to the island, drawn by the promise of opportunity. This rapid growth, however, brought with it a significant challenge. The chaotic mix of different currencies, Spanish dollars, Dutch guilders, Indian rupees, and Chinese cash, made trade increasingly complicated. A merchant might be paid in one currency and have to pay his workers in another, losing value in the complex exchange process. The British administration realized that for trade to flourish in an orderly and predictable manner, a stable and uniform currency was essential. The existing system was simply too inefficient. Imagine a ship's captain trying to calculate his profits when he had to deal with half a dozen different types of coins, each with a fluctuating value. It was kind of like trying to build a house with bricks of all different sizes. The British needed to create a single, reliable standard that everyone could trust. This would not only simplify transactions, but also solidify British economic control over the burgeoning settlement. The goal was to replace the confusion of the marketplace with the predictable order of a modern financial system. Their first attempt to impose monetary order involved the Indian rupee. Since Singapore was initially administered from Calcutta as part of British India, it seemed a logical choice. The East India Company declared the rupee as the official currency of the settlement. However, this decision was met with resistance from the local merchant community. For centuries, trade in the region had been dominated by silver, specifically the Spanish silver dollar. This large, heavy coin was well known, trusted, and widely accepted from the Americas to China. The merchants were accustomed to its weight and purity, and they were reluctant to switch to the smaller, less familiar Indian rupee. The attempt to force the rupee upon the population largely failed. It created a dual currency system where official government business was conducted in rupees, but the real day-to-day commerce of the marketplace continued to revolve around the silver dollar. This situation was untenable. It caused constant confusion and disputes over exchange rates. The government's salaries were paid in rupees, but the shops and markets priced their goods in dollars. It became clear to the British authorities that they could not fight against the powerful tide of tradition. If they wanted a truly successful and stable currency, it had to be one that the people would willingly accept and use. The answer, it seemed, lay in silver. The persistent preference for silver finally led the British authorities to a landmark decision. They recognized that to create a truly unified and accepted currency, they needed to embrace the metal that had long dominated regional trade. Thus, in 1845, a new coin was commissioned by the East India Company specifically for use in their territories in the Straits of Malacca, which included Singapore, Penang, and Malacca. This new coin was not just another piece of silver. It was the first official silver dollar minted by the British for the Straits settlements. It was a direct response to the needs of the local economy, and a significant step towards creating a cohesive monetary identity for the rapidly growing British possessions in the region. This new coin was a masterstroke of practical policy. Instead of trying to impose a foreign standard like the rupee, the British created a coin that mirrored the size and silver content of the widely trusted Spanish dollar. This made it instantly familiar and acceptable to the merchants and the general populace. They were not being asked to trust something new and alien. They were being given a British version of a coin they already knew and valued. This thoughtful approach ensured a smooth transition and widespread adoption. The introduction of this standardized coin marked a pivotal moment, signaling the end of the chaotic currency mix and the dawn of a more organized and efficient economic era for Singapore. The importance of this first Straits settlement silver dollar cannot be overstated. It was more than just money. It was a symbol of stability and British authority. For the first time, traders in Singapore had a single, reliable currency backed by the might of the British Empire. This greatly simplified commerce. A merchant could now price his goods, pay his suppliers, and calculate his profits using one consistent unit of value. This newfound predictability reduced the risks associated with currency fluctuations and encouraged more extensive and complex trade deals. The coin acted as a common language of commerce, uniting the diverse communities of Singapore under a single economic banner. The coin's arrival had a profound impact on daily life for everyone on the island, not just the wealthy merchants. Shopkeepers, laborers, and food vendors could now conduct their business with greater certainty. A worker knew that the silver dollar he received as his wage would be accepted everywhere, from the food stall to the textile shop. This standardization helped to foster a sense of economic security and integration among the island's inhabitants. The 1845 silver dollar was, in essence, the foundation stone of Singapore's modern financial system, a tangible piece of history that helped transform a diverse collection of traders into a unified economic community. The design of the 1845 Straits settlement silver dollar was carefully chosen to convey two crucial messages: its connection to the British Empire and its value as a piece of currency. On one side, the obverse, the coin featured a portrait of the reigning British monarch, Queen Victoria. This was a powerful statement. Her image, finely engraved, declared that this coin was issued under her authority and was backed by the full power of her global empire. The portrait showed a young queen, symbolizing a new and vigorous era. For anyone holding the coin, from a British official to a Chinese laborer, the queen's effigy was an unmistakable sign of its origin and legitimacy, linking the remote trading post of Singapore directly to the heart of the empire in London. The other side of the coin, the reverse, was dedicated to its practical purpose. It clearly stated the coin's value, $1. This was surrounded by a wreath of leaves, and the inscription Straits Settlements, explicitly identifying the region for which it was intended. The year of minting, 1845, was also prominently displayed. The design was simple, clear, and unambiguous. There was no room for confusion about what the coin was or what it was worth. This clarity was essential for a population that included people from many different cultures and who spoke many different languages. The coin's design communicated its identity and value universally, without needing any translation. The physical characteristics of the coin were just as important as its design. It was a large and substantial piece of metal, minted in silver with a high degree of purity. Its weight and diameter were deliberately made to be very similar to the Spanish and Mexican dollars that had been circulating for so long. When a person held the new Straits Settlement's dollar, its heft and feel were immediately familiar. This was a crucial factor in building trust. In an era before complex financial regulations, the intrinsic value of the metal in a coin was paramount. The fact that this new coin contained a reliable amount of precious silver assured users that it was a genuine and trustworthy store of value. Every element of the coin, from the Queen's portrait to the precise weight of its silver, was a calculated part of its success. The coin was not just a tool for buying and selling, it was a piece of imperial propaganda and a guarantee of economic stability. It projected an image of British order and reliability into the bustling, multicultural markets of Singapore. The design cleverly balanced the assertion of imperial power with the practical needs of local commerce. It was a coin that looked and felt like real money, and this tangible quality was the key to its acceptance and its role in unifying the economy of the Straits settlements. With the widespread acceptance of the silver dollar, Singapore entered what could be called, well, silver's golden age. From the mid-19th century onwards, a steady and reliable supply of silver coinage oiled the wheels of a booming economy. Trade expanded at an unprecedented rate. Ships laden with tin, rubber, and spices could now be bought and sold, using a currency that was understood and accepted throughout the region and beyond. This monetary stability was, honestly, a critical ingredient in Singapore's transformation from a simple trading outpost into the premier port of Southeast Asia. The silver dollar became the lifeblood of this commerce, flowing through the accounts of great trading houses and into the pockets of humble dock workers. As the Straits settlements became a formal crown colony in 1867, the British took direct control of its currency. This led to a new series of silver coins minted exclusively for the colony. These new dollars, halves, quarters, dimes, and 5-cent pieces all featured the portrait of Queen Victoria, and later her successors, King Edward VII and King George V. This created a complete and logical system of currency, where different denominations were available for transactions of all sizes. A laborer could be paid a silver dollar for a day's work and then use smaller silver coins, like a 10-cent piece, to buy a meal. This made daily life much more convenient and efficient for everyone. The presence of a stable silver currency also had a profound social impact. It helped to create a modern wage economy. Plantations and tin mines could now pay their thousands of workers in cash, a system far more practical than providing them with food and lodging directly. This monetization of labor gave workers more freedom and choice in how they spent their earnings. It also spurred the growth of a retail economy, with shops and markets springing up to cater to this new class of consumers who had cash to spend. The silver coin, in many ways, was an agent of social change, helping to structure a new colonial society built around cash, wages, and consumption. Furthermore, the silver dollar became a symbol of wealth and security. Families would save silver coins as a hedge against uncertain times. The gleam of silver represented tangible, portable wealth that held its value. In a society made up of many immigrants who had come to Singapore to make their fortune, the ability to accumulate silver dollars was a powerful motivator. It was a physical manifestation of their hard work and success. The coins were not just abstract units of account, they were real, precious objects that connected the colony's economic life to the personal aspirations of its people, shaping the very fabric of society for decades. The long reign of silver as the foundation of Singapore's currency began to face challenges in the early 20th century. The value of silver on the world market started to fluctuate wildly. This created a serious problem. The value of the silver metal in a coin could become worth more than the face value of the coin itself. When this happened, people would melt down the coins to sell the silver for a profit, causing the coins to disappear from circulation. To combat this, the colonial government began to reduce the amount of silver in the coins in 1907, and again in 1920. The coins looked the same, but their intrinsic value was decreasing. This was the first sign that the age of pure silver currency was coming to an end. The Great Depression of the 1930s dealt another severe blow to the system. Global trade collapsed, and the prices of commodities like rubber and tin, which were the backbone of Singapore's economy, plummeted. In this climate of economic instability, many countries abandoned the silver standard for their currencies. In 1935, a crucial change was made. The Straits dollar was officially pegged to the British pound, sterling, at a fixed rate. This meant its value was no longer determined by the price of silver, but by the strength of the British currency. Silver coins were still in use, but they were now effectively tokens, their face value guaranteed by the government rather than the metal they contained. The final and most dramatic end to the circulation of silver coins came with the Second World War. When the Japanese forces invaded and occupied Singapore in 1942, the entire economic system was thrown into chaos. The local population, fearing the worst, began hoarding any currency of real value. Silver coins with their precious metal content vanished from sight almost overnight. People buried them in their gardens or hid them in secret compartments in their homes. They understood that the banana money, the worthless paper currency issued by the Japanese military administration, had no real value. The trusted silver dollar became a hidden treasure, a secret store of wealth to be saved for a better day. During the 3.5 years of the Japanese occupation, silver coins effectively disappeared from public life. Their absence was a stark reminder of the collapse of the old order. The bustling cash economy that had been built on the reliability of silver was replaced by a desperate system of barter and a black market, where pre-war silver dollars were traded at enormous premiums. The war had forcibly ripped silver from its central role in Singapore's daily life. When the British returned in 1945, the economic landscape had been irrevocably altered, and the path was cleared for a new kind of currency, one that would no longer depend on the precious gleam of silver. After the turmoil of the Second World War, Singapore and the surrounding Malayan territories were faced with the monumental task of rebuilding. The economy had been shattered, and a new, stable currency was urgently needed. The pre-war Straits Settlements dollar was replaced by the Malayan dollar, issued by a board of commissioners of currency for Malaya and British Borneo. The era of silver coins for everyday use was officially over. The new coins issued for circulation were made from cheaper, more practical metals, like cupro, nickel and bronze. Silver was now too valuable, and its price too volatile to be used for minting the millions of coins needed for a modern economy. This move away from silver was part of a global trend. The world's financial systems were moving away from currencies backed by precious metals and towards fiat currencies. A fiat currency is money that a government declares to be legal tender, but it is not backed by a physical commodity. Its value comes from the trust and confidence that people have in the government that issues it. As Singapore moved towards self-governance and eventually independence, creating its own strong and trusted currency would become a vital symbol of its national sovereignty. The focus shifted from the intrinsic value of the coin's metal to the economic strength of the nation itself. When Singapore became a fully independent republic in 1965, one of its first priorities was to establish its own monetary system. In 1967, the nation proudly issued its first series of coins and notes. The new Singapore dollar was born. The coins in this first series featured designs that celebrated the island's marine life, such as a lionfish and a sea turtle, symbolizing Singapore's connection to the sea. Crucially, none of these coins for circulation were made of silver. They were minted from modern alloys like cupro nickel. This was a practical and economic decision, reflecting the realities of the post-war world and Singapore's new status as a self-reliant nation. The new currency was a declaration of economic independence. It was managed by Singapore's own monetary authority, which was tasked with maintaining its stability and strength. The success of the Singapore dollar would not depend on the price of silver in London or New York, but on the prudent economic policies of its own government and the hard work of its people. The move away from silver was complete. The journey from a colonial currency tied to a precious metal to a national currency, backed by economic confidence, marked a profound shift in Singapore's identity, mirroring its political journey from a colony to a sovereign state. Just as silver coins vanished from daily transactions, they began to reappear in a completely new and different role. Beginning in the late 1960s and early 1970s, the newly independent Singapore started to issue special coins to mark important national events and anniversaries. These were not meant for buying groceries or paying for a bus ride. Instead, they were created as commemorative items, beautiful objects for people to collect and cherish. And for these special editions, the monetary authority of Singapore turned back to the classic, precious metal that had been so central to the nation's history: silver. These new silver coins were works of art. They were often larger and heavier than the circulating coins and were struck with incredible precision to create frosted designs on mirror-like backgrounds. They were issued to celebrate milestones such as the 10th anniversary of Singapore's independence, the opening of the new Changi airport, or to honor the nation's unique flora and fauna. These coins allowed Singaporeans to own a piece of their country's history, minted in a precious metal that has always been associated with value and permanence. The return of silver in this form connected the modern nation back to its historical roots. The market for these commemorative coins is very different from the bustling markets of the 19th century. Today, they are sought after by numismatists, coin collectors, both in Singapore and around the world. Their value is determined not just by their silver content, but also by their rarity, their design, and the significance of the event they commemorate. The Singapore Mint produces a wide variety of these coins, often in limited numbers, making them highly desirable. They are sold as individual pieces or in elegant presentation sets, serving as prestigious corporate gifts or treasured family heirlooms passed down through generations. This modern use of silver coins represents a full circle in Singapore's monetary story. The metal that once served as the essential tool for daily commerce has now been elevated to a symbol of celebration and heritage. It is no longer a workhorse currency, but a showpiece metal. These beautiful silver coins act as metallic storybooks, each one telling a small part of the Singaporean narrative. While you can no longer spend a silver dollar at a local coffee shop, you can hold a modern silver commemorative coin and reflect on the incredible journey the nation has taken, a journey in which silver played such a foundational role. The story of Singapore's first silver coin is, in many ways, the story of Singapore itself. It begins on an island of barter and diverse currencies, a place of dynamic but chaotic exchange. The arrival of the 1845 Straits settlement silver dollar did more than just simplify transactions. It imposed a sense of order and unity, laying the groundwork for a modern economy. This single, reliable coin was a crucial tool that helped to channel the island's raw commercial energy, transforming it from a fledgling trading post into a key node in the network of the British Empire. It was the common monetary language that allowed a diverse population of immigrants to build a shared prosperity. Tracing the evolution of silver coinage through the decades reveals the major turning points in Singapore's history. The shift from the East India Company's coins to the Straits settlement's own currency in 1867 mirrors the colony's growing importance. The gradual reduction of silver content in the early 20th century reflects global economic pressures and the move away from metallic standards. The dramatic disappearance of silver during the Japanese occupation is a powerful symbol of the collapse of order and the trauma of war. Each change in the coins tells a part of the larger historical narrative, a story of booms, busts, conflict, and change. The eventual replacement of silver with a national fiat currency after independence marks the nation's coming of age. This final step in the journey signifies Singapore's confidence in its own economic future, a future built not on the intrinsic value of a precious metal, but on the strength of its institutions, the ingenuity of its people, and its strategic place in the world. The Singapore dollar, backed by a robust and well-managed economy, became its own standard of value. The journey from a silver-based currency to a modern fiat one perfectly encapsulates Singapore's transformation from a colonial dependency to a sovereign and prosperous global financial center. Today, as we look back at the 1845 silver dollar, we see more than just an old piece of money. We see a foundational artifact of modern Singapore. It represents the beginning of the structured, reliable, and rules-based system that defines the nation's economy to this day. The journey from that first silver coin to the commemorative silver coins of the present is a testament to Singapore's incredible capacity for adaptation and growth. That humble piece of silver, first minted for a remote colonial outpost, carries the legacy of an island that turned the simple act of trade into a remarkable story of global success.